too chill today. All right, recording in progress. Yay. We got to have the VOD. Anyway, welcome to the stream. I'm just going to recap this for the recording. Welcome to the stream. Today we're just kind of chilling and we're just building casually, you know. We're just going to kind of go through a couple of things here. Right now on screen I'm looking at my purification system, my water treatment module. I just wanted to show you guys a couple of my modules that I like to build in my playthroughs. I like very compact modular designs. I guess that's just the engineer in me. I don't know. But yeah, so this is our water treatment facility. And so we're going to go ahead and start building this. So let me go ahead and drag this off screen. And so you guys have seen this. We'll start here. Oh, that's something else. This is actually something else I'd like to show you. This is actually SPOM inside of a Spacefarer module, which is actually pretty cool. You can see here on the right that I actually have a couple of different setups. You see I have a drill cone, I have a science vessel, and I actually have two SPOMs because, like I said, I like to use these modules in my playthroughs because they're very compact. They don't take up a lot of space, and it's literally just the same thing and you plug and play. Yeah. Not Scrap says really cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just sharing some of my, and as you can see here, I'll start from the beginning. This is actually one of my colonies. You know what? Why don't we just have a little side thing here? We'll just kind of start on these screenshots that I have. Let me pull up some other stuff here. I don't want y'all to see all that. Whoops. Sorry about that. And I just want to make sure there's nothing inappropriate here, obviously. But anyway, yeah. That's something else. Yeah, so this is actually one of my last colony that I built. And I'll just give you a little tour here. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. This is a bit later in the game, but you can see this is our hatch ranch. It's very, very characteristic. I mean, it's very recognizable. Here you can see my typical layout with my bathroom and my nature preserve right here. And that goes back into here to where our sieve is. And if you've been with us the last couple of streams, this is kind of the workhorse of the bathroom loop. And this over here is another sieve, but this right here is our water treatment facility. This nose cone module, and that's kind of what we're going to build here in a minute. And I'll actually show you some of the overlays, or maybe we won't build it. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions, whatever you guys are interested in. But anyway, like I said, there's a lot going on here. This is my kitchen. This is a typical setup I like to use. It has motion sensors, so duplicants can have light for when they're cooking. And there's two of them because it'll cover both sides. There's a sweeper, there's a loader, there's a sorter. A lot of stuff going on there. Here's our medical bay. This is our SPOM. And like I said, this is something that you can hook up. The only thing is you have to have a battery on it. That way you can have access to the power inside and outside the module. As you can see here, here's a little simple metal refinery setup. And I'm using these aqua tuners to not only cool this, but also to kind of cool some of the stuff over here. We'll get to those overlays in a minute. Here's my Dreco farm. Here's one of my pride and joys. I designed this a while back. I actually have a tutorial on it. Here's our graveyard. You can see it's starting to fill up. And massage parlor, a couple other things. So let's just kind of go through these overlays and I'll kind of show you what's going on. Obviously, this is the breathable oxygen. This is not. Here's our power grid. You can see this is pretty much our transmission line, our high voltage transmission lines through here. All of this comes off of that. This is our power spine. I guess that's what most people would call that. And then we have our runs coming off of it. It's a bit messy, but it works. It works. That's our thermal overlay, just to let you know that we aren't having a heat death going on inside this base. Maybe outside. That's probably like 30, 40 degrees. But inside, we're sitting at a nice cool 24, 22 degrees, somewhere in there. There's our light overlay. Here's our plumbing overlay. This is where it kind of gets interesting. As you can see, there's a big cooling loop that goes through the entire base. And this right here feeds into it. And the way this loop is designed, if you follow it around, this loop comes over here and goes past here, comes down here, comes back up here, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And here's... Oh, actually, wait a minute. Let me look. So it loops through here. Like, it goes all over the base. There's actually a spot where I was... Okay, it's right in here. Some of these pipes are disconnected. But this is kind of like a secondary sieve. And what it does is it alleviates the backup from this by putting it through our purification system. And then after that, it's actually being sent back out, as you can see right here. And it actually goes up and it goes to the other planetoid that's connected. So this is actually a secondary source of clean water for the other attached colony. So this colony is doing a lot of the work for the secondary colony's primary needs. Let's go ahead and keep going through the overlays here. This is just more of a tour than anything else. Here's our oxygen solution. This big tank of water helps to normalize the temperature of the oxygen. I don't think it's necessarily super important because we have that cooling loop going through the base. But this was one of those early things I set up, and you can see that we have our SPOM. There's another SPOM down here that is really more for power generation and oxygen. And you can see that this SPOM is also helping because these SPOMs only put off so much oxygen. And once the colony gets to a certain size, you either need to make a really big SPOM or you have to make multiple SPOMs. And so I went for multiple SPOMs because I like this little modular design. We're going to see these overlays here in just a couple of minutes. All right, so this is decor. You can see that I've done a decent job at making the place beautiful. Everywhere that's red is hideous and everywhere that's green is beautiful. Here's our room overlay. You can see I've really optimized our layout. It's like everything's compact and we pretty much have all the rooms that we want. A laboratory, washroom, the nature preserve, a great hall. This is a luxury barracks. This is a recreation room, and so on and so forth. These are ranches. This is a ranch. Here's our Atmos suits. Here's all the automation. That's the beauty of it, is this is where the bulk of the automation is. The rest of it is actually really simple stuff. There's just another version of that. And here is the settings on some of these items. You can see I have this room set to 200. This, honestly, I took all these screenshots just so I could remember how I built things. You know, this is kind of like a catalog of my creations, of my playthroughs. I like doing this kind of stuff. That way I can go back and look at what I had and be able to recreate it without much resistance or, you know, much issue. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff setting there. This is just showing you my little gas trap setup. This just makes sure that the carbon dioxide and whatever else settles into the bottom of the base is pumped out. Here's our shipping. This is basically the logistics, the automated logistics. And now you'll notice up here, I actually do have a storage room. This is the main storage room. This is where all items end up. And as you can see, I have two sweepers here that are the workhorses of this room. And what they do is they pick up anything that's on this and they put it onto these little bus lines, these conveyor loaders, I guess what they're called. Yeah, those are the loaders. Anyway, these loaders send various, you know, things to different parts of the base. Like, I believe this is dirt. Yeah, this is dirt to fertilize the meal lice that the Drecos are eating. And yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff going on here. You can see this right here is bringing coal over here to these coal generators and stuff like that. So I won't spend too much time on that. Here's our radiation. If you saw me playing the other day, this is what I was talking about. When your dupes get into this stuff, if you're not familiar, you know, they'll get radiation sickness, especially if you have it on the higher settings. So I tend to put this stuff kind of tucked away into a corner. And this just happened to be the way I optimized this layout. I was like, you know what? We'll put it back where the bathroom stuff is, because radiation will actually kill germs anyway. So why not put it where there's germs? All right, here's our SPOM. This is a little SPOM that I made. There's a couple iterations of this, but I think this one's the one that I found that works the best because the oxygen it puts out will stabilize below 30 degrees. And that's important because, you know, heat death. And I've tested this over about 100 cycles, and it will sustain a reasonable output. I think the highest temperatures I saw was about 33 to 35 degrees. So this is really something I enjoy doing. And if I do a long play or I get into the mid game, you'll definitely see me build these. These are really cool. I spent a lot of time designing this, trying to optimize it. As you can see, there's a lot of pipes here, but what that does is this keeps it. These insulated pipes keep it from picking up heat from the top area, and then these ones right here allow it to cool down or absorb some of the heat right here. Actually, no, this cools these tiles right here. But it warms up as it goes through until it gets to the electrolyzer right here. And all this mass kind of helps to kind of damper the temperature in this room, especially with the water coming in at about 22 degrees or so Celsius. It helps to keep this area cool. And then you'll see right here that we're using another set of radiated pipes to take the gas that's coming out of this room that's produced, and we're trying to cool it down before we send it out. And so you can see this is set to oxygen. It allows the oxygen to come down here. And then here's a room. The cool thing is that this is a power room. So you can actually come in here, and those familiar with later in the game, you can actually tune these generators, and you can get a pretty good net positive output from just this setup. And the best part is that when the dupes come in here, they can just do that. And this system is contained, and there's no loss or contamination from outside through these doors, which is super awesome. Here's our setup, just some of the settings that I have, 250 and 450 on our pressures. This is for the oxygen. This is for the hydrogen. And again, then we're just filtering out oxygen because we don't want to feed oxygen to our hydrogen generators. That'll cause damage. So back to the module I was telling you about. This is my water treatment module. And so what I do is this is actually attached to a battery underneath of it on the platform, and then I just delete the platform. And what this does is we put chlorine here, like bleach, and we can also empty bottles into here, or we can put it over here. But essentially this room, the water comes in. You guys may have seen this. I actually think I might have scraped a good portion of this design from someone off of YouTube. I apologize for not giving them proper attribution. But whoever you are, thank you. But anyway, this loop is designed to basically let the water in. And this germ sensor right here just checks to see if there's less than one germ. And if there is, it will open up this valve in the back and allow the water to leave. Now, the first little squirt on the first actual fill, it will have germs. And that's okay because it's not a lot, but most of the water will get purified. And what's really cool is, like I said, this will fit into your base at pretty much just about anywhere. And it's real simple to build. Here is, I think this is, what is this? I think this is my colonizing rocket. Yes. Okay. I see it right here. Look at this. Anyway, this is a pretty cool one. I kind of stole this I guess, inspiration from someone else, but I kind of made it my own. Like I said, this will have, I guess, three duplicates in it, and I use this to colonize different planetoids. I'm going to move through this rather quick. Here's a bedroom. Here's a great hall. Here's a bathroom. Keeps the morale high. Logic's very simple. We have that sensor that just kind of turns everything off. We're inside, or if we're not in space. I did this just so we had plenty of water for the latrine, which is awesome because, as you can see, you can put the latrine on the exit door, which is awesome. Gas overlay, and it's beautiful. This is my science rocket. As you can see, we have the 3 rooms again. A little bit of logic just to control everything. This just turns everything off when we're not in space. Here's our radiation overlay. We put some plastic tiles in here to try to minimize radiation. This is where the dupe will stand, and that's where they'll sit. So they're mostly safe from radiation. Only when they're right here or right here. And here's a couple of my rockets. This is my science vessel. We're running petroleum and fertilizer. Here's another one of my rockets. Oop, not sure what we're doing here. Oh, I guess I was just showing a couple of things. Here's another one of my rockets. It's the drill cone. Let me check what we have going on over here in my folder. I just want to see what's getting ready to come up. I think we're almost done. Just kind of giving you guys a little tour of some of my screenshots here. Yeah, here's my basic science rocket and the regular nose cone. It's basically my starter science rocket. Oxygen, all that good stuff. Radiation's a little bit harsh on this one. I've noticed that if you leave your dupes in space for a day or so, they definitely start having some issues. Just me showing a couple of those things again. Okay, here's our petroleum work. This, like I said, was on my last playthrough. This is where the magic happens. As you can see, I've used a lot of the airflow tiles just to move all of the gas. There's another one of these over here to the left. And this right here just ensures that all that gas is evenly spread throughout all the chambers. I thought this was a nice little elegant solution. I had plenty of metal, so I was like, why not? Why not do that? So these things pump oil off of the oil things here, and then once they're full, they off-gas the gas, and then that fills up the chamber, and this pumps it out and puts it into the generators down here. I think we might have some overlays of that. As you can see, it's pretty hot in there. Here's our buffer tank for our petroleum, and it's coming out and it's going down here. And here is our gas being sent down to another area. I'm not sure if I have any pictures of this one down here. Okay, so here are a couple of my volcano tamers. These are kind of interesting. This is on my current playthrough as well. And what we have here is every once in a while, these things will erupt. For those who don't know, not Scraps, I know you're not really familiar with this game, so I'll do my best to kind of explain it very simple. For non-players. But yeah, so this thing will erupt and it's very hot. So these aqua tuners help to mitigate that. This is steam in here, and as that steam heats up, these will cut on and they'll produce power. And this is our power spine that kind of goes all over the place. I can't remember. I think both of these are gold volcanoes. I can't remember. One might be gold, one might be cobalt. But anyway, so those items come in here and then they come along this right here. And that mass stays on this conveyor belt, and it helps to kind of keep that heat in here. And I have this set up to where the only time it'll run is if it's really hot or if we need power. And anyway, those items end up coming down here. I think we'll be able to see that right here. As you can see, this is hot, and then down here we're cooling these items down before they get shooted out, or before they get shot out. Not shooted. Shoot is not a word. Not Scrap with the cry emoji. Big sad, big sad. But anyway, so yeah, so this is the cooling loop on that. This should look familiar because we were just playing with an aqua tuner, and this is a similar loop. Our automation. Here's where all of the rails go, the shipping rails, and this is time controlled, and so actually wait, is it time or temperature? I'm pretty sure it's time controlled, but where's the clock? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's temperature controlled. I can't remember. Anyways, there's a gold volcano tamer. I think that, okay, so those weren't gold. Okay. But anyway, here's a gold volcano tamer. It's another one I built. I just have the overlays here just so I can reference them in the future in case I want to rebuild this. I think we're done here. I think this is all just me playing around. This is stuff that I was doing when I was trying to come up with the concepts for the siege ladders and stuff like that. So that was me workshopping on that. And this is me making some of those overlays that I honestly ended up not using. But yeah, so that was me just trying to make some icons for our siege night on Sunday, Sabotage Sunday. But anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. And we'll just come back here to this. Let me turn this off. Get rid of that weird thing. But yeah, so that's just a couple of my screenshots. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let's get out of here. I was actually just enjoying showing you guys some of that stuff. I actually think maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should just hop into one of my saves and we'll just kind of look around at some of the stuff that I've built. And just kind of go from there, because I'm not sure exactly what I want to prototype right now. And to be honest, I am a little bit fatigued from a long day. So let's just do that. I think that'll be good. We'll just go to the main menu. We'll save and quit. And we'll try to load one of my old... Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Look at me go. Look at me go. Come on. Main menu. Quit without saving. Thank you. All right, load game. That's probably the better idea. So we got some sabotage stuff. Manic Monday, Testing Meteor. A lot of playthroughs. A lot of playthroughs. Let's check that. I think this is the one. Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's load into this game. Let's see what's going on. Just want to show you guys some stuff. Yeah, so here we go. This will give you a little bit more context as to what's going on. As you can see, we have our SPOM here, and it is definitely working. And I can kind of show you what's going on here. You can see this water's coming in at a healthy 22 degrees. By the time it gets here, it's about 34 degrees. But the good thing is that this oxygen coming out, it's sub 30 degrees. And this has been running for a while. But we're seeing it in action here. I'm actually surprised I hadn't finished all the research. That's crazy. Yeah, we're kind of at the point now where we have so much food that a lot of it's decaying. Wasteful. Absolutely wasteful. All right, let's go back to the main colony here. I'll just give you a little tour here. So as you can see, this is the main colony. And there's a lot going on. We got our Draco farm going. We have a lot of stuff going down here. I was actually working on this a while back. I really love what they've done with the magma. It looks so cool. I love it. So this is a bit of a triple volcano tamer here. Gone horribly wrong because for some reason this spot right here will not take the magma. So this right here was me attempting to do a salvage operation and get all this crap out of here. But as you can see, it's really, 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 really hot. It's 1,379 degrees. So opening this up is a bit of a Pandora's box because that heat is insane. But I was starting to have some issues with overheating down here. And so I had to adjust some things. But you can see that these things are steady kicking at full throttle the entire time they're running. It's absolutely insane. And I was kind of eyeing this. I was going to maybe make a geothermal spike sometime soon. Oh, and I was also, you know, playing with my Pacu over here. But, yeah, there's a lot going on here. I was going to get to the Somnium synthesizer, but we never really finished that. We have this thing over here trying to do something, but I've capped it. This is our gas storage. Just storing a lot of extra gas over here. Yeah, I know. Making some diamonds over here. Excuse me. Now, here is probably one of my proudest achievements, and this is natural tile farming. These were all planted by pips, I think I actually followed, what is it? Sea fungus? I can't remember who it's one of the the YouTubers. He has an excellent video on this. I actually thought about making a video myself, but then I realized that there's already a good one out there, and I'm not really one to recreate the wheel. So I followed it, and it actually turned out pretty good. It turned out pretty good. Between the bristle blossom and the sleet wheat here, we are creating a ton of food. I mean, look at this. I have 700,000 calories of berry sludge, and berry sludge don't go bad. So essentially, this is the food colony. Like, this colony is like throwing off way more food than everyone in our solar system can use. I'll show you the star map. I haven't made it everywhere yet. I've only got about a couple of these going right now. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've beat the game, because I haven't. There's still a couple achievements that I haven't gotten. I haven't gotten Tear the Veil. I've gotten close to Home Sweet Home. Actually, you know what? We could take a look at that. Let's look at what I got on the printing pod first. See if I have any treats this weekend. Nope, just basic stuff. I already have that. Yeah, it's all garbage. Oh, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Nice. Thought you only got 3 things a week. That's interesting. But anyway, so that was the main one. Let's go over here and check this one out over here. Now you can see I was trying to set up a arbor tree farm. And here's our water storage. Here's our rocket. We're also using this to gather some of this radiation off of this. Right here. Because we were going to get ready to, well, we're making diamonds, but I was also getting ready to start setting up like a Radvolt stuff infrastructure to be able to use the Radvolt rockets, but I hadn't quite got there yet. So, yep. Anyway, this is what we have over here. Nothing special, nothing crazy. We hadn't even got to the bees yet. I was gonna come down here and grab some betas and obviously get into the nuclear reactor, but we haven't gotten that far. That's actually something I really want to build one day soon. And I know that these bees will help with that. Okay. Let's check out some other stuff. Let's come over here to this colony. This is the attached colony. And as you can see, we have some rocks, or some rockets here. Not rocks, rockets. This is a cooling system, or a cooling loop for this particular area right here. This will cool down all the stuff that comes in, because when the meteors come in, that stuff's hot. Want to make sure all that stuff's cool. This is a bit of a problem. I was actually trying to find some way to utilize the heat that the rocket engines throw off, because they throw off a ton of heat. As you can see, this is 65 degrees, but it was actually much warmer. I think I may need a couple more tiles over here as well, because this tends to get pretty hot, especially when the rockets are taken off repeatedly or one after another. But this was just my attempts to try to capture some of that heat and turn it back into power. As you can see, we have the bog buckets naturally planted over here. I did a lot of pip planting in this playthrough. We have another, let me see here. Yeah, we have another nature preserve behind our, or in front of our barracks. Great hall. You know, all the regular stuff. Here's that production facility I was talking about. As you can see, these airflow tiles allow the natural gas in here to equalize with this side. So you see we have 204 over here, and we're not too much higher over here. It is a long run, but it mostly evens out. Down here is something we were working on. We were turning this into a big petroleum reserve. This is actually going to probably, this whole thing here is going to be a petroleum reserve. Don't ask me why. We just decided that that was what we were going to do. As you can see, we have one over here, and it's sitting at a comfortable 36 degrees. I have a little bit of a coolant loop in here just to kind of cool it down, because this room is very warm. And as you can see, we were starting to farm the molten slicksters over here. Excuse me. I think I probably overdid it with these temp shift plates, but it is what it is. I know you could probably do like a cross hatch pattern, like a checkered pattern, and that should be pretty effective. But I wanted to make sure that the temperature was really even in this room. As you can see, there's only about a 1 degree difference, maybe a 2 degree difference between here and the end of these temperature shift tiles. But yeah, this is where all my yucky stuff is. I was in the process of trying to sort this out. I didn't quite get there, but it was a work in progress. And like I said, I was trying to make as much petroleum as possible. This was going to be that planet. At some point, I'd probably start piping it to the surface so it could be transferred. Or better yet, I could transfer it back to the other colony. Right, where's the other thing? Right here. As you can see, I have something else going in there. This colony is the one that's attached. So I was sending a lot of stuff back and forth between these two colonies. So yeah. But yeah, that's kind of this playthrough. I don't know if I have anything else to really show you. We got the drill cone. You've already seen that. The science vessel. We looked at that. This is that sterilizing capsule in action. As you can see, it's taking in water right now. And you can see that there's a lot of germs in here, so it's definitely not going to let that water pass through. And what it'll do is after this is full, it'll shut this off, and it'll circulate. And then once it starts circulating, it circulates till it's clean. And then after it's clean and there's no germs, it'll kick it out. So yeah. As a matter of fact, I think there was a couple of other things I wanted to show you. Not on here, but let's see here. Main menu, quit without saving. Let's look at some of my other saves. Oh, here's my old research bunker. I actually think I included this as a download in my Ultimate Hatch Ranch video. I may have done some work on it since, though. I'm not sure. Ah, this was me trying to play with the rust deoxidizers. Okay, I slightly remember that. But there's a lot of the same stuff here. You're going to see. This was me when I was prototyping these things. And there's the SPOM. This is one of the first iterations of the SPOM. And here's a luxury barracks that I was working on. I mean, it's not really anything special, but it's definitely interesting. As you can see, we were piping in the oxygen here. And the beauty about this is that whenever well, actually, you can see that it's way too high. What I originally done is I designed this to where if there's a small packet of carbon dioxide in here from the dupes breathing, it would replace it with oxygen. But the problem is after that happens over and over, the pressure becomes really high. So I kind of abandoned this for now, just because I didn't know. Oop, there we go. We're back here. This is me playing with some logic. As you can see, I was trying to create a multiplexer here. And what a multiplexer does is it just cycles through. It cycles through channels, and it just sends a binary on or off. And so that's what I was actually working on here. And this is a bit of the bus clock. And this was me trying to play with the speed. And as you can see, the numbers aren't quite doing what I want them to do, but you can see that they are switching in a bit of a pattern. And that was what I was trying to test. What I was trying to test here was I was trying to see if I could send multiple signals, like on-off signals, through these signal selectors. And I was trying to use them as like binary operators, you know what I mean? In different combinations. This is just a little bit of testing. I haven't really circled back to this, but this is definitely something that I want to circle back to because I love. Did I say love? I love automation. And I love working with this type of stuff. This is me trying to come up with my own solution for the saltwater geyser. It didn't quite work out, but what I was trying to do was I was trying to heat this up with an aqua tuner and turn it into steam. And then what I was going to do was take some of that steam and put it over here. As you can see, this is piped over to here. And so what I was trying to do was I was trying to create some kind of way to cap this thing and use it as pure water. But the cool thing is now that we have the aquatic DLC, it's actually pretty cool because saltwater has a lot of uses. Oop, getting a little bit of a lag spike there. Sorry, guys. But yeah, this is just me messing around with different materials. I was just looking at their properties and stuff like that. This is a bit of a crusher setup right here. These doors are put in a way to where when they close, they'll trap a little bit of gas in here and they'll basically delete it. Here I'm working on some liquid lock designs. The way this one's set up is that if this thing is above 0 grams, which it will be unless it's in vacuum, it will be if this liquid disappears. So essentially, these are safety mechanisms to close the door if one of these liquid locks breaks. So I could actually show you this, I think. So like this, and if for some reason, let's say this thing we're going to do below 0. I think that might change it. Above. See, look, and now it closes the door. Now you could hook that to power, but you don't have to. And now if I do like this, it's going to open it back up once that seal is back in place. So this is a bit of a safety mechanism for this type of straight pass-through liquid lock. What I have found is this works very well. The only problem is if they drop anything inside of this that'll off-gas, it can pop the seal. And that's usually when this has failed on me, that's when it fails. So I've actually gone back to the little step ones where it's basically just goes down and back up. It's like a little dip. It's almost like a P-trap on a drain. Here's another one I was just messing with some designs here. I made it pretty for you guys because like I said, I think I shared this. I shared this design. Here's where I designed that Draco farm. I think I have a couple of different versions of it. Here's a SPOM design that I was working with. Or not a SPOM, but a Hydra. It's another one. I was trying to optimize these. Now you can see over here where I was working with luxury barracks, the SPOM. Here's our water treatment facility. You guys might recognize this if you've watched any of the videos on the channel back in the day. This right here is our old incubation farm. Our industrial incubation. This is me just doing some more playing around with materials. This is some of the stuff I set up for the explanations of the logic in the Ultimate Hatch video. Along with this, and this is actually the original farm, which we've since discovered we have a couple of design flaws. Namely this door. And then we had to redo some logic. And here's a simple version of it. And here's another little system I was working with. I don't even remember what this is. I think this is another, yeah, this is another saltwater cap. I was trying to figure out how I could make this work. I love how this looks now. It looks all bubbly. It's getting ready to boil. It's cool. But it's a bit of a failed experiment as well. I'm not even sure if this is working anymore. I may have given up on it, but basically what this does is it allows liquid in, and it pushes it over to here and down into here. But again, I don't know where I was exactly going with that. This seemed to work a little bit better, but I never quite got the efficiency out of it that I was looking for. So, but yeah, okay, so there's a bunch more stuff that I've kind of been playing with. Here I was messing with some different designs. But yeah. Oh, here's where I was starting to play with the sublimation station. I actually came up with a decent design for this. I could actually show you that. Let me go back to the main menu. We're not gonna save. I can show you over here. Yeah, I apologize. This kind of ended up just being a show and tell stream more than a building stream, which I guess is okay. Like I said, it's been a long day. I'm just chilling. Let's look at some other saves. think this was... I'm not sure what that was. Wow. Let's look at some really old playthroughs. Ah, the Frosty Boys. I don't know if you guys watched this series, but I can show you where it left off. There was actually one episode that I never released. I actually have it mostly edited, but I just never released it. All I can say is I think the playthrough went a little sideways and I got a little salty. And there was a lot of stuff going on in life at that time anyway. I was looking to move back to the area I'm in now. So there was just a lot going on and I had to step away for a little bit, but I think we already know that. So let's check this out. Let's just check this save out. I'm actually just interested in just kind of checking out what we had going on. Very interesting stuff. Just kind of seeing where I was back then. Okay, I remember this. We had just got here, really. We hadn't really even started doing much. We had found this, and we decided to turn it into a base. Let's see what we have over here on Glaciela. Okay, so we definitely got our alveolaris system set up. And this was the interesting thing. I don't know if you guys had seen this, but the goal was to keep this place very cold. And it is cold. It's like negative 18 degrees. As you can see, we're farming phlox up here. I wanted to pair the phlox with a Drecker Ranch, because the Drecker Ranch needs dirt for the meal wood to grow, and that's what feeds the Dreckos, and the Dreckos produce phosphite, and phosphate is how you fertilize these. So it actually was a nice little resource chain, and it actually had a positive, a net positive result. I think it threw off just a little bit more dirt and phosphate than you used, and you also got the benefit of all the food and the plastic. So it was a nice little resource loop. It might be something interesting to revisit at some point. But yeah, you can see I was trying to set up a material study terminal over here. This is pretty indicative of what you've seen me do before. I was also farming some of these mammoths, and this was a quick and dirty setup just to get some oxygen before we were able to fully ramp up the alveolaris here. And if you remember correctly, those alveolaris require a lot of carbon dioxide. Well, lucky enough, we found a geyser down here, and we're pumping that back up there because they consume more carbon dioxide than the dupes produce, but the dupes need more oxygen than they produce. So you have to inject some carbon dioxide into the system. All right, let's see where we're at. I don't think there's anything else really going on here. Yeah, I was really just starting to get into this playthrough. I think we're on like episode 6 or 7 or something like that. I think the one you'll be more interested in... Actually, no. I'm sorry. This isn't the one I have the episode for. This is the one... This is just the one that I stopped playing. Let's exit without saving. The one I have an episode for is the original playthrough. Well, the original playthrough that I was doing. Maybe we can go check that out real quick. This is like a trip down memory lane. I mean, this is like a couple of years ago when I was playing this game. Load more. Yes, we want more. Insane Normies, Frosty Challenge, Frosty Series. Oh, okay. So we have a couple of different R&Ds here. Check this one out. Like I said, we're just chilling tonight. We're not really getting anything too serious. This was me. Oh, I was working on a natural gas geyser. Yes. There's our Hydra. I think it's actually producing oxygen for the colony, which is awesome. There's a couple of different versions of it. There's a big boy version of it. As you can see, I was really trying to figure out the mechanics of this and try to figure out what some good designs would be for it. I think that's about it. I think that's really all we have on this one. Quit without saving. Let's see what else we have. We should be able to reach way back. We should be able to reach back to our original place through. Take 2 space station? Is this the one? Let's load the game and see. If it wants to load, maybe not. I'm going to take a water break, though, while we're waiting. How's everybody doing? Oh, we got the Great Monument on this one. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the one. I think this was the original playthrough. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember this. Because we put like a bathroom over here or something to get the achievement where you have to be in suits. Everyone has to wear a suit and do something in a suit. That was my little cheaty cheat for that. But yeah, here's a bit of an industrial brick. Here's one of my early aqua tuners. This is interesting. I remember this weird problem where this pipe would break. I think it's because it's too high. I can't remember. But what I did here was I created dual zones. Dual zone cooling off of the same loop. And you'll see that this spike right here is the cold spike. And then these doors open and close depending on the temperature of the water on the other side here. Which keeps... This is an insanely effective way to very precisely control temperature. Because, you know, with the aqua tuner, you're looking at about a 14-degree variance between when it enters and when it leaves. So you can get a bit of a variance in the piping. But when you do it this way, let's say this spike is like, I don't know, -2 degrees. It doesn't matter. If you set this to 24 degrees or 25 degrees... Look how close we are. We're 24.5. We're only a half a degree off. And I guarantee if we look at all these pipes, you're going to see that in common with all of it. You see they're all really close to the temperature. Now, obviously, what's coming in is going to be a little different. But that's actually the reason why I did this loop this way. Was so the... yeah. Anyway. I got ahead of myself there. Ooh, I think I was getting ready to play with some gassy muse here. I'm not sure. Here's a hydrogen tamer. This is actually something that would be worth taking some pictures of because I'll probably end up building one of these again too. This is just for taking care of the hydrogen, but it's definitely pretty hot. So yeah, you want something like this. What am I doing with this? Oh, I am. So I'm cooling it. Woo, look how hot that stuff is. 124 degrees, 65 degrees. And then I have it coming in here and it's just feeding all this stuff. But yeah, this is how I used to store water. Like all my water, as you can see. No buffer tanks in sight other than for gas. As you can see, I was in the process of setting up a natural farm up here. I'm not sure if I was doing sleet wheat or if I was doing berry blossom. I think I was getting ready to do both. Because I wanted to start making the berry sludge. Nothing really to see there. Here's our rockets. Very, very simple stuff. You can kind of tell that this was not as sophisticated as that first playthrough that I was showing you. It's very basic. I was just starting to understand what this was and how to use rockets and stuff like that. Let's look at some of our... oh, looks like I was using a SPOM here, but as you can see, it's a slightly different design. And this is before I truly optimized, and you can kind of see the temperature of the water, but you can also see the temperature of the gas. The water was actually really cold, so that's why it's kind of cold in here. But that worked. It worked. Early rocket. I don't even know what this is. Why is there a tank in here? Is it hooked up? I guess it is. I don't know what I was doing here. All right. Yeah, we did come over here. I think we did get a gassy moo. Our poor little rover got abandoned here. Look at all these gassy moo. Wow. That's crazy. So many. What else do we have? A Timberista. I think we already looked at this. No, we didn't. Okay, cool. So once again, you have volcano tamers. Nothing new here. This is our little carbon trap down here. I actually remember playing this a while back. This thing transfers things between planets. I don't even remember what I was transferring. What was I transferring? Let's look at the shipping overlay. Oh, gold. Ah, okay. That would make sense because we do have one... Oh, here I was. This was the reason why I was implementing that. Okay, so this is my actual practical implementation of that saltwater tamer. And essentially what it's doing is it's separating out water and salt. It's definitely not efficient, I will tell you that. But as you can see, the temperatures are a little bit better in here. But again, this system isn't set up and let it go. It's kind of been not really doing super well. But as you can see, a lot of this water is getting ready to boil. And we're just trying to keep all this stuff real nice and cold. But yeah. I did get down in here. Got a lot going on there. What about Muckazon? Let's go over here. What a great name. Yeah, so these are some of my earlier versions of the production line for our natural gas and for fuel and oil. But it's a little bit more disjointed. There's really no clear direction or compact or optimization to this. They're all pretty much individual. So you can kind of see the progression from this into what I had in the first one. Like I said, this is one of my early playthroughs. So you can kind of see where my mind was at. I was still learning a lot of this stuff. But yeah, that's what we have going on here. There's the Hermit. I don't know if I have anything else in particular to show you here. Oh, this is interesting. It appears I got some natural tiles in here. Let's see how this went. It's a park. It's definitely a park. Has two. Yeah, okay. So that's what I was going for. I was going for maximum. See, we have 4 rooms in here. Okay. I see what I was doing. I was trying to make a rocket to get the high moral ground achievement, most likely. That's what this looks like. Because we're looking at like a +3, a +2, that's 5, that's 8, 9 + 9. And then if you give them a decent food, you can get a pretty decent morale. Cargo shuttle. Basic telescope. That's actually one of my favorite designs for the telescope rocket. At least the first one. Radiation's pretty good here too. The only time you really experience radiation is when you're piloting the vehicle. But anyway, I think we might be able to move on from this as well. If you just joined us, hello and welcome to the stream. Today we were going to build some stuff, but right now we're just kind of taking a trip down memory lane. We're looking at some of my old playthroughs, looking at some of my designs, and kind of seeing where I was in the beginning and comparing it to where we currently are with some of our designs. Just looking at our thought process, how it's developed over the last couple of years of playing this game. Actually, more than a couple of years. I think it's been like 3 or 4 years at least. But anyways, I think that's about all I have to show you here. This is me deleting stuff. This is basically a gas crusher. I think I'm getting rid of polluted oxygen. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Yeah. But yeah, so this was one of my first playthroughs. This is the first playthrough that I did. Never really finished it. I'm trying to remember why we didn't finish it. I think the Frosted DLC came out and that's where a lot of attention was, so I figured, hey, we should probably restart and do that. I definitely have gotten better at restarting. Maybe that's one of my favorite things to do, I'm not sure. But anyway, okay, so let's go ahead and back out of this. We'll go to the main menu. We're not going to save. We might be able to dig a little bit farther back and see the old Engineer Troy stuff, probably before YouTube. That might be a little interesting. See here, we have Geothermal R&D. Frosty Challenge, Space Rock, Hydrolab. We've already looked at that. There's so many playthroughs. Oh, I remember this one. This one was crazy. This was the one I did for the original Auto Ranch. I actually made that video not in creative. I made it actually playing the game on survival. It was definitely a lot more work, but it was a proof of concept. I wanted to make sure that it was something that would actually work if you tried it in an actual playthrough and not just in theory. But yeah, this probably will look a little familiar if you've seen the original Hatch Ranch. That's it. Nothing else. Just that. So really not a whole lot to see there. Just a little trip down memory lane. See how farther, how much farther back we can go, rather. Carnivore colony. Okay. I think this is when I did my video on the carnivore achievement. That's a really old video. Yeah, so yeah, I made this incubation array. Yeah, that's what I called it. And then here's the Hatch Ranch. This actually might have been from that as well. You can see it's a basic base. There's not a whole lot of complexity or nuance. I didn't modularize. I didn't make everything modular or anything like that. It just kind of is what it is. I mean, I was just starting to realize that I needed to isolate from some of these cold biomes. We all start somewhere in life. I think that's the important thing to realize. Is that nobody starts as an experienced player. We all have to learn. I'm actually relearning now. But yeah, this is the first iteration of that where the eggs fall through the floor. Apparently it's still working. I mean, this obviously isn't a new save, but it's an old save on a current save. I guess they don't work the same. I don't know. But anyway, let's see if we can find one more that's a little bit older, because I think we might have one more, and then we'll go back and maybe mess around for a little bit. I'm really open to whatever you guys have ideas on. Is there anything that you guys are struggling with in the game that you'd like to see conceptualized or built? I mean, I can't guarantee that I know how to build it, but we can take a stab at it, maybe solve some problems together. Again, that's what this format's for. It's not really for me to show you playing or anything. It's just to show you my process and for us to kind of come together in the workshop around the drawing board and just look at some things, look at some designs, maybe get inspired, maybe even learn something. That's obviously the best outcome, I think, is that we learn something. Well, let's go all the way back. I'm going to go all the way back, way back. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning. The Genesis, if you will. Trainwreck the dump. Let's see if there's any more. I want to see the oldest save we have. I want to see... Oh, there we go. Here's my first playthrough. You can see they didn't get very far. I honestly don't know if any of them got very far, but we can start at the very first one. This was last played November 23rd of 2023. That's crazy. And as you can see, it was very basic. I don't even think it's worth loading this. You can see I had a bathroom, a bedroom, a farm, and a bunch of storage beside the printing pod. I don't even know why I did that. I must have seen somebody else doing that. That's crazy. All right, let's see what this one is. This one's about the same. A bigger farm, slightly better bathroom, still basic stuff. I hadn't separated my power from my research. Here's a couple of bedrooms, and I was apparently running 2 tanks. Let's see. Okay, same business. It looks like I progressed a little bit on my third playthrough. I was at least making some bathrooms. some actual bathrooms. This one looks like I was learning to expand my base a little bit. So, what else do we have? Hapless League. A lot of this is just a bunch of nonsense, to be honest with you. Me learning to play the game. This looks interesting. Looks like I was actually doing something here. Let's check this one out. I know I've asked, but let me check in again. How are you guys doing? How was your day? How's our evening going? Yeah, I'm not sure what we were doing here. Let's go back to the original colony. Okay, so I was staging for rockets. I was starting to understand that they heat up things below them, but I don't think I fully understood that. All right. We have such an ugly pattern. Yikes. Here's an early version of my hatch ranch. This is before the automation kicked in. And yes, I was putting everybody in one bedroom. Big tank. Big SPOM. Is that thing even working? I guess so. I must have locked this door. Oh yeah, I turned it off. They can't go inside. How is the temperature on this base? Okay. But anyway, yeah, there's this. Yikes. Look how close I am to the surface here. Ha! Basic rockets, basic rockets. Let's see the interior. I'm just kind of curious. Oof. Let's go to the other one. Oh, that's where we started. Okay. Well, anyway, that was a nice little trip down memory lane. No saving. We already looked at that. Yeah, okay. We'll come back over here. But yeah, I really like these new tiles. I want to start working these into some of my designs. I forgot that we had deleted all that. We had deleted all this stuff over here. At least all the automation. Whoops. Very funny, very, very funny. I'm gonna have to fix that. And then maybe we'll update our tutorial. But anyways, you should not be doing that. Not that it really matters. So I'm not sure, circling back to this, I'm not sure how I'm going to implement that thermal battery that I was talking about, but I think I'm going to try to do some research on that and come back to you guys on it, because it's definitely something I want to entertain. However, I think for now, I think we're just going to take that off the list for our Manic Monday. I have a couple of other ideas that I think is going to work pretty well for that stream. I think the no dig up, no dig down, left, right, and the one-way doors are going to be some interesting things. Also, no bridges. I think that'll be another interesting thing. But I'm trying to look for ideas that are pretty easy to start engineering solutions to early game. And so I kind of feel like the options there are a little bit more limited. I was also thinking about maybe doing like some type of playthrough. But right now, the current programming schedule is just not really conducive to that. So we may have to wait on that for a little bit. Yikes. What was that? Maybe have too much stuff going on here locally, I guess. Getting little lag spikes here. But anyway. We can do. Let me see what we have over here. Trying to think of something good for us to build. What would be good for us to build? I'm kind of out of ideas right now. But yeah, so I think we can do two things. And this is going to be some basic stuff because I know that a lot of new players to this game generally are looking at things like bathroom loops and cooling loops. We've already done the hatch ranch last week. And we've kind of been touching on a lot actually today on base design. And I think that's pretty obvious in the overlays that I was showing you early on from my current playthrough. So I think what we could do is that we could maybe just walk through the aqua tuner setup, and then maybe also, well, actually no, we can start with a bathroom loop. I think that would be an excellent thing to do, and then we can go from there. If we have time, maybe we can come back to the aqua tuner setup. But, you know, we're just going to conceptualize a couple of basic things today. Because it's, you know, it's the middle of the week. You know, work is tough. Life is hard sometimes. So we're just taking a break today. We're just chilling. So I think we'll leave this here. What I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start building a bathroom loop on the other side here. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is put a door. We're just going to build ourselves a little bathroom. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to consult the tab just so we know exactly what it is. I know, but I want to make sure that we all know. So we're going to build a washroom. The washroom is going to have a flush toilet, a plumbed wash station, and no industrial machines, no outhouses. Has to be at least 12 tiles to 64. That's going to be easy. So right now we only have 2 duplicates. I like to put at least 2 bathrooms and two sinks, two toilets, and a shower. So I think we'll do that, and then we'll just start setting up a bathroom loop so you guys can see how that works. For anybody who hasn't seen that before. Like I said, we're keeping it basic today. We're not trying to do anything too difficult. I think the battery, the thermal battery bank is not that's a little bit more of an advanced concept. I think we're going to have to do a little bit more research on that before we follow back up. So I like to put 1, 2... Oh, I can't do it. Put the shower in here, put 2 toilets rather. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is I'm just going to put it below it. Or actually, you know what? We'll just put it beside it. Now, we're going to need a sieve for this. So, let me see here. Sieve. I'm gonna do it this way, and then I'm gonna grab some piping. Let me grip back here to you guys. How's it going, Not Scraps? How we doing? Do something like this. Definitely want to have a buffer tank on some of these. It doesn't really matter what side, but it is nice to have one. And you can wire this or you can connect this however you want to, but this is how I like to do it. This is probably the most simple bathroom loop you're going to find. Now we're also going to need power to this. And I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of power it like this. Because we are in creative. It's no biggie, no biggie, no biggie. I think we're going to need some sand, so I'll probably create some sand. Oh, we need to paint that, don't we? And then we're going to have to delete that, I believe. And then I think we're good. Now we do need to get some water put into this system. And the easiest way to do that is with a bottle drain. Or, well, actually, you know what? We have liquid pumps. What are we doing? We'll just put some fresh water into this real quick. We'll inject some. Let's get this off the screen. Liquid water? No. What? Okay, it's at the bottom. So stupid. All right, let's put some water into this system. Okay. Let me get rid of this crap. Now, we'll look at this bathroom loop a little bit. So as you notice, there's water coming in here. Let's see if these dupes will use it. Actually, you know what I can do? I can actually add a couple of dupes. Maybe they'll... What is it? Control F2? Yep. There we go. He immediately wanted to take a shower. As you can see, all that polluted water is going to come through here. The sieve is going to sieve it, and it's going to accumulate in this tank. Now, these toilets put off over double the water that they consume, so this will back up over time. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. You may want to do something else with this water. What I like to do with it is if you're going to use it for something else, I like to, well, actually, wait, we already have one over here. So, okay. So we have this. I like to go into here and set up a water purification system, which I think we can do. View interior. Let me pull up my overlays and we will quickly build one. I think I still have those up somewhere. Give me just 1 second here. Where are you, overlays? Okay, there we go. I think I found them. Hooray! All right. So we have this. We are going to need... I like to put a couple other things in here. I like this in here just so you can drop off bleach stone. I also like to put the gas thing up in here, the gas canister emptier. I like putting that right here. I also like putting a storage unit for some of the other stuff. I think I do bleach stone in this. B-L-E-A-H. Bleach. That was almost a bad word. Let's see here. Chlorine. Nope. Okay, so we haven't discovered any of that? Oh, well, whatever. It is what it is. So what we can do is we can just hit delete, right? And we can go with chlorine, CH chlorine gas. And we'll go with 300 degrees. Yes. And we'll do 1,100 kilograms. Why not? 100 million jajillion dollars. All right. Boom. Now we have chlorine. And the other thing we're going to need is we're going to need... Oh, I think that's on the rocketry tab. We're going to have to put this in here. And then I'm probably going to wire up a couple of different things. Let's see here. We need the valves. Yes, shut off valves. Oops. There and there. Yes, yes. This goes here, that goes out. And then we're obviously going to need to put some power to it. Because those need power, but nothing else will need power. Alright. Actually, you know what? I need to change a setting real quick. Give me 1 second. Options. Audio. Mute when focused. There we go. Now you won't get that, that mute every time I tab over. Alright. And I'm going to show you this in action once we get done too, so don't worry. We're definitely going to go over this one. And then actually wait. Yes. Like this. And then hooks up to there, and I think the rest of it's bridges. Yeah, I think the rest of it's bridges. So we have a bridge there. And we have a bridge here. Then we need a liquid germ sensor. And we're gonna need a little bit of logic gate. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that that it's below 1, which would mean 0. It'll turn green for 0. And we're also going to want... Actually, I just realized something. Huh. Okay. I realized that I drug the cable over top of this, which I guess isn't the end of the world, but it should probably go something like this. And you'll see here in a minute why. Here, this will go here. This will all make sense once you see what I put down. Okay, so we want to make sure... I think we set this to like 95% because you don't want it to be full, otherwise it will not circulate. We definitely want it to be at 0 when it empties. I think we need an AND gate. Yep, we do. We need an AND gate, and then we need a NOT gate. So... let's go outside real quick. Oh, let me hit delete and get out of there. Let's go outside real quick, and we're going to add a module. Wait. Add a module. Looks like they changed this around a little bit, possibly. We want to add a battery. And what this will do is it'll allow us to bring power into the capsule to operate that stuff. So now we can go like this and maybe like this. So now we have power inside the module. Let's go interior. You can actually just hook that to your power grid if you want. These are just going to stay undone for now because you want to put bleach stone and we haven't discovered that yet, okay? So now we have this. So basically the way this logic is going to work is the water's going to come in here. It's going to hit this valve. If this is not full... Actually, wait. I think I did it backwards. Did I do it back? Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I forgot something, though. It needs to hook to the reservoir. Because what happens is the reservoir will put out a signal. So if we look at that, if we see here, it says, sends a green signal when reservoir is less than low. Threshold full. Which means it'll open this valve and allow water to come in until it reaches 95%. Once it reaches 95%, it'll shut down. This will stop. And then it'll just keep circulating. And this valve opens only when this and this are true. And so this is less than 1 germ. And this is when this valve is not open. So basically, you can't just let the stuff go through the system. It has to be in here. And these valves will never be operating at the same time. So we'll see it here in action here in a second. We'll go outside real quick. And we're going to hook it into our bathroom loop. That way you guys can see this in action. And so what we'll do is we will do an input. Oh, that's not what I wanted here. I think we're doing some insulated pipes here. But what we'll do is we'll do something like this. And what I'll do is... you know what? We'll just put it here. We'll do half and half. Because this thing should be putting off... well, these toilets will, but I think this won't work long term. But we're just going to do this as a concept, proof of concept. And then this will go... we'll put this into another tank. Let's say right here. Let's get that buffer tank out. There we go. Actually, wait. No, we can't put it there. And then we'll do something like that. And now this is actually potable water. And what we'll do is we'll do a bottle filler in this room. Like so. And now what we're going to do is we're going to watch this operate for a little bit. Oh, I guess we don't have any filtration to, medium? Okay. Well, we can fix that. Let's get our tools again, and we'll make some more sand. Delete, so it doesn't delete it. And now let's see how much sand. Oh, we have lots of sand now. Matter of fact, we could probably just go ahead and set up some shipping to take care of this for us. Yeah, we'll do that. And we'll go ahead and wire it up. Just like so. All right, so here we go. Let's see what we have going on with our bathroom loop. So you're going to see a lot of this water is going to go this way. Now, if you look at the water, it's actually right here. And I don't know if it's going to tell us how many germs are in it. I think we have to hit the germ overlay. Yep, we do. Okay. So this water has a lot of germs in it, as you can see. So we're going to go over here to the Spacefarer cone, our new water treatment facility, and we're going to watch the water come in. So as you can see, the water's coming in. And it sees that there's a lot of germs. Now, this water is going to have germs in it. This initial prime is going to have germs in it, but everyone after that is not. So it's really just going to be a matter of when these guys get this thing filled up, you can see it in action. As a matter of fact, what I could do is I could just... let's see here. I wonder if you can do germs in water like this. I guess we'll see. Let me put it here. Let me see here. Polluted water? No. We don't want polluted water. We want regular water. Or better yet, we could do a delete. Actually, no, we don't want to do that. Let's do this instead. I think what we can do is we can make a tank outside of here. And then we'll put a pump in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this with water. I'm going to fill this with, let's see here, delete. Let's go with polluted water, or no, regular water. But we can put food poisoning in it. And then we can fill. Oh, actually, wait, we got to put back tiles on this before we do that. Good drywall. Let's go with some green. All right. Actually, you know what? Clear floor. All right, let's put a pump in here. Actually, wait, let's do this. Fill. And then we'll look at our germ overlay. No? Oh, we need to put that in here. Let's do like 10,000. There we go. That's what we wanted. We wanted germy water. Okay, cool. Now, let me grab a pump, and I'm going to pump it in so we can watch this thing do what it does. Do what it do. Put a bridge onto here, and then we'll give it some electricity, and then we'll just watch it operate. Alright. Here we go. This water's going to have a ton of germs in it. It's going to prime this line here. And now we're going to wait for this thing to fill up. Shouldn't take too terribly long. I mean, it is going to take some time, but... what we'll do is we'll pay attention to the water movement. Actually, no. We'll do that. As you see, it's starting to fill it up. Let me show you the automation overlay. Right now... 0 germs. There's no way. Let me check this out. What's going on here? Oh, it looks like the germs have already died. Okay, well, that was a bad experiment. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and insulate these a little bit better. That way the germs don't die so fast. I'm trying to think of what the best tile is. I think it's like plastic, isn't it? Maybe not. Oh, it's lead. Let's make it out of lead. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. All right. Maybe I need to put that tank underneath. Let's see what we can do with... trying to remember... that'll work. Actually, I don't want to do that. I don't. I want to do this. Then I want to get rid of all this. Okay. Let's try this again. There we go. That should survive a little bit longer. All right. Now we'll see. This thing is red. It's not, it's saying, oh, there's a bunch of germs in here. So it's just going to keep filling. This is still sending a green signal. So it's going to keep this valve open until it's full. As you can see, we're climbing up there. Now what I can do is I can lower it down. It doesn't have to be 95%. I could do it like 75%. Like that. And now you'll see that the liquid is circulating, and only when this thing is green will it actually let water go. As you can see, it's still seeing a lot of germs, but it's slowly coming down. And now you can see this is green and this is off. So it's allowing the liquid to leave. And if you look at it, this water is clean. It's because of the chlorine and from the radiation coming from the top. And this is my purification system. This is my water treatment facility. I added this just to kind of demonstrate what it does with the yucky water. As you can see, there's still a lot of yucky germs in here. They're coming down fast because the radiation of space kills germs. And so does chlorine. But yeah, so this is my go-to. This little setup right here, this is my go-to for water for purification. You don't usually need it, but sometimes it's pretty handy. But yeah, that's that. And you can see it's storing that fresh water over here. And it can now be bottled. So it kind of makes this use, like, redundant. Now, another thing you can do, and a lot of people do, and this is a little bit more elegant, is you can do something like this. With all that extra polluted water, you can actually usually... Let me see here. What is it? Farming hydroponic tile, right? Yes. You can do something like this. Let's see how we want to do this. Okay. All right, and then what I do is I usually I'm doing this because what this will do is it'll hold on one second. Let me build this and then I'll explain it. This will do is it'll send it here first, but if that's not there, which we're going to cut it off. Let's say for some reason this system gets backed up. We'll just go ahead and snip both of these off. Let's say this gets backed up. Let's let them keep going. This will start putting the polluted water up to here, and what we can put here is thimbleweed. I'm not sure we found it. Yeah, there. That's what we want to get, is thimbleweed, and you can plant that there. And the thimbleweed, if you look in the database, let's go ahead and look that up. Thimble. The thimbleweed uses polluted water 160 kilograms a cycle. So 160 kilograms, this thing puts off an extra 5 or actually 6 kilograms per flush. So that's a lot of flushes. It's about 30 flushes a cycle to support one of these. So you really don't even need 2, I don't think. But you could do 1 thimbleweed. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. But you could do 1 thimbleweed off of this bathroom loop, and it might be enough to keep it growing. I mean, you can always put 2 just in case. But that's one thing I do. I like to do with this bathroom loop, or at least one option you could do with this. You don't have to do the purification system. That's a bit overkill, but it's just an option. I'm just showing you options. But yeah, the thimble reed is the go-to for most people. It's the more elegant solution because you don't have to purify the water. There's no infrastructure to add. You just pipe it to a hydroponic farm tile and you plant a thimble reed. And now you have materials for making your Atmo suits. What else? What's another early game concept we could kind of cover right now? So there's that. There's obviously the aqua tuner and the steam turbine setup here. That's something that maybe we'll talk about sometime soon. We'll go over that as well. I showed you my base, my old base. I showed you how I like to organize and make everything modular and fit it into nice compact spaces. What else did we cover? Also, another thing I like to do when I'm doing power spines, I guess we could talk about that real quick, if we can not lag out here, please. Power spines are interesting. I usually, the problem with power spines is, that's definitely something that you'll come across as a new player. The problem with power spines is that they are hideous. Minus 25 decor. You don't want your dupes running by this. So I like to put it off to the side somewhere next to the base. And a lot of times what I'll do is I will come out here and I'll do a little something like this. Let's say we're going to put it on this side. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll put it, let me see if I can zoom out here. Let me hit backspace so we have a full reveal. Well, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do a power spine on the left or the right, or somewhere where I know that dupes aren't going to cross it. If you noticed earlier when I was showing my playthrough, it was on the right side of the colony. That was definitely intentional. But let's say, for instance, on this side, we wanted to put it on this side. A lot of the neatest, cleanest way I've found to do these is just to do a little tier right here at the floors. Let's say, it just depends on how many power transformers you're going to need. But this would be kind of my go-to. And then there might be like a ladder that goes up here, a service ladder, maybe a service pole, you know, whatever. And then what I would do is I would set my transformers over here. And now you have to note that these things do have a direction. This means that the high voltage input is here and the step down from the transformer is here. It follows the arrow. So you go from high current to low current. And the way you would set this up is that you would start with your power spine. Depending on how much power you're using. This power, this is heavy watt wire. This is one of the earlier game ones. All you need is just the ore. This is pretty good until you get into the mid to late game. I've even left this up into the late game, depending on what the colony power needs are. And then what you do is you just hook it all up. Now, the thing about these big heavy watt wires and stuff is that they don't go through tiles. You see, I can't build it through the tiles. So they have to be in a space like this. And then, of course, we just put your transformers wherever you need them, and you'll wire them up, and then you'll want to come either on this one. This one in particular is just 1 kilowatt. So we are going to want to put some regular wire on it, and then you just do like this, and you just boop, put it right back into your system, just like that. And we could actually come over here and we could take this off. And then we can put it over here, and we can conceptualize how this power spine would work. I'm just going to put it like right here, and then we'll hook it all up. And as soon as I hit the pause button again, you're going to see the transformers charge. Boom. And now these circuits have power again. Now everything's working. And the beauty of this is that you can set up individual circuits. Another thing I like to do with these circuits is I like to put a bridge somewhere. And the reason I like to put a bridge is because the bridge will be the first thing that takes damage when you're if the circuit is overloaded. So we could do that. A lot of times I'll put it like right here, and then you can just kind of deconstruct this, and boom, there you go. And now if for some reason we put something on this and it were to, heaven forbid, pull too much current, which we could do. Let's see what we could put up here that would pull a lot of current. Probably going to be under refinement. Let's see here. What can we use that uses a lot of power? The glass forge, I think. The glass forge uses a ton of energy. Definitely over... Actually, you know what? No. We don't even need to do that. We can just use lights. Let's see if we can find the sunlight. How many watts is that? 8 watts? That's it? Sun lamp. Okay, that's what we want. We want the sun lamp. That takes 960. So if we put this thing right here and we put another one right beside it, and then we hook this up, you're going to see what I'm talking about here. So we'll hook these up, and this circuit's going to turn red as soon as we turn the game back off pause. Let me get back here to the chat. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. And so look, boom, now you see where the damage is happening? The wire bridge. So this is definitely a strategic advantage when you're designing circuits. I highly recommend putting a wire bridge in an easily accessible area. So if for some reason, heaven forbid, you do overcharge or overtax your electrical circuit, you have a nice, easy place to repair rather than some random spot in the wires. So there's that. All right, cool. We talked about a power spine, and this obviously scales. I mean, this can go up to whatever the maximum current is for this, which happens to be 20 kilowatts. Just to put that in perspective, that would be 20 of these, because these are all 1,000. There's a couple that are bigger. I actually think I heard that there's some bigger ones coming out, isn't there? So we have this power transformer. I'm not sure how many this will do, but we'll throw it down. Let me see here. Let me put some tiles, and then we'll grab it. You remember, they follow the arrows. Just like that. And then this one right here, I believe, will put out 4 kilowatts. Yeah. So you could do 5 of these or 20 of these off of this 20 kilowatt wire. So the numbers work out nice and even, which is nice, depending on how you set it up. So that's a power spine. Like I said, if you look at the decor, very ugly. You definitely don't want your dupes walking past this, because they will get the they'll get a decor debuff. So yeah, power spine. Just to recap, I'd put it to the left or the right. Usually goes all the way to the surface, all the way down to the bottom, because down here you're going to end up doing some stuff. Usually, let me hit the get out of this overlay. Usually at some point you're going to start heading down here later in the game, and you're going to start doing a power spike or a geothermal spike. Basically, you're going to start drawing heat out of this magma and making power out of it. This must be that biome that we were talking about the other day. I can't think it was Rogax was talking about, or maybe it was Luca. Maybe it was Luca. I think it was Luca on yesterday's stream was talking about that. Anyway, what is this? Polluted brine vent. Okay. This might be something cool to play with later on. But yeah, so we covered that. What else did we cover? We covered some base layout strategies, stuff like that, but I think that's about all I got for you guys tonight. I think we're probably going to wrap it up here soon. I hate to end early, but I think it's one of those nights where I just need a little bit of a break. I definitely showed up. We definitely streamed today. We definitely talked about a couple of things. We didn't have anything super exciting to talk about, like we were originally talking about with this aquatuner setup that we were going to try to test. But like I said, I need to gather some more information on this before we actually start implementing it. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good introduction to some of the game mechanics. And yeah, so I think what we'll do is we will just, let me actually change some settings here. We're going to chill for a minute. I'm not going to leave just yet. We're just going to chill for a second. Let me go ahead and options, audio, mute when unfocused. Done. All right, cool. Cool. So let me close a couple things out over here, and I'm just going to change my my tab here. So let's just go ahead and come over here. So yeah. Okay. Well, it's a little bit early, but I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much. It's been a bit of a chill day. I'm gonna go rest. My wish is that you guys go rest too, and I hope you guys get a good night's sleep and you feel recharged and wonderful for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, day before Friday, and this weekend's a holiday weekend here in the United States. So I hope you guys are ready for that as well. I will be streaming on Friday. We are still going to do the Fast Friday. However, this Fast Friday, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing the max speed, no pause on a fresh run. However, I think that it was just a little bit too easy. Actually, let me go over here and exit out of the game real quick. Actually, you know what? We'll save and quit. Yeah, we'll do that. But anyway, I know you can't see that, but anyway, that's what we're going to be doing on Friday, and we're going to be starting with probably about 20 dupes, 15 to 20. We'll see how it goes. And my plan is that we'll just start on a new save, and if for some reason it goes sideways, we'll have it saved at the very beginning, and we'll just keep trying until we can figure out some type of strategy to keep our dupes alive without pausing, and without destroying, letting our colony get destroyed. So running our, ending our run, as it were. So I think that's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit stressful for me, but you guys get to sit back and watch. And the great thing is that I've integrated chat. I don't know if you guys seen that, but the chat is now appearing on the screen when we do have some chatters. Today was a little bit quiet, but it's going to be funny, I think, in retrospect, especially in the VODs on YouTube, because you're going to be able to go back and watch. And what I think will be funny and what I kind of hope is going to happen is that you guys kind of see me running into a bad situation and you're like screaming at me in chat, no, don't do that. Or, oh my God, so-and-so is going to die, or, something like that. And I'm just going to completely train wreck it. And you guys are going to be along to witness. So I think that's going to be fun. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work out. We may make it, we may not, but we're definitely going to keep scaling. If it's too easy, like it was last week, we're just going to keep on scaling until it becomes hard, until we have an actual engineering design challenge that we can put our hands on and start, sinking our teeth into, see if we can break the game or anything like that. I know a lot of people have done some starts like this, but I think they also do pauses. So I think that's going to be the defining difference in this format as opposed to other people who do like I started with 50 duplicates. But it's definitely going to be chaos. It's definitely going to be a little bit of fun, and it's definitely going to be another opportunity for you guys to earn channel points, because we definitely want to save those up for Sunday, because that's the weekly finale. That's Sabotage Sunday. This past Sunday was absolutely amazing. I thank everybody that showed up. It was a lot of fun, and we actually survived. And here's the best part is that we're not starting over. We're going to continue that colony. So you guys are ultimately going to decide whether that colony lives or dies. And I'm really interested to see how that turns out. I'm excited to take that journey with you guys. And I hope that I hope you're enjoying seeing me get a little frustrated and stuff like that, but it's all in good fun. So anyways, I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you being here very much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And just remember that people are messy. And duplicates are even messier. So let's give each other a little bit of grace, and let's leave things better than we found them. So until next time, have a good night. And I invite you to bring yourself and and your friends on Friday and come build with me, or at least watch me build or try to build. And we'll see you then. Okay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here. Have a good night. Bye.